I think you're amazing.
You are too, Henry.
Thank you so much. Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you. Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection. God bless you. I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank you.
God bless you too. Thank you for having us.
Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. It's such an honor to be here with you today. We're here with the one and only Christina Nelson. She is the host of the Christina Nelson Show, which is to motivate, heal, and inspire. I was telling her prior to the interview that I've watched quite a bit of her content and found it to be motivational, captivating, and also she speaks in a way that actually gets you to think. Because how many know that there's nothing wrong with thinking and thinking in a logical sense, as it relates to dating. She covers mental health, but she's gonna pretty much elaborate on uh, her show and what it's all about. And I guess I'll just start out with this, Christina. First of all, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
I think I'll start out with this question. What inspired you to want to start a show?
Well, I was doing a talk show many years ago with this singles group that I was in, and he kind of like almost I don't want to say con me, but it was I didn't know what I was getting into. First of all, it was just like let's have this show. It was called The Royal Court, and he said, "Come on in. I want you to do the questioning for make up some questions and ask the guys. It was single guys, and it was what single men think about single women and all this kind of stuff in the church, right? And so I started doing that, and then eventually I said I want to do my own, and so I said I want to call it I Am Healed. And that's what it was first called. I'm sorry. No, it was first called Healing from the Inside Out. And it was mind, body, soul. It was everything, encompassed all types of healing. And I said, I like that. But then after a while, I noticed when I was doing Facebook posts, I would go hashtag I am healed. So it could be anything like the mind and mindset, because I've had a lot of, I have a lot of, I've been through it. And so I have experience in what it is. And so I realized that you can't tell anybody how to heal, or you can't motivate anybody. You can't inspire anyone unless you know and you've been through it yourself. And so I have been through some depression. I've had suicidal thoughts. I've had all those things going for me. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness called multiple sclerosis and lupus. And I've been through things like that. I was a single woman. I was a single mother. I've had those experiences. And so I wanted to bring to the plate people, real people who have done those things also. And I wanted to make them tell their testimony so that when other people hear it, they can be motivated or inspired or healed, or all three in one show. So that is the main thing, is to motivate people, to do something, or to inspire them to do something, or to bring healing. Because let's face it, there are a lot of people out here right now, and there are people who are hurting, and they might hear something. And sometimes all you need is to hear one thing from someone that you've been through or something similar, and you are like, wow, it got through it. I can get through it too, And so that was my whole reasoning, is to get people to see that you're not alone. You're not the only one. I know it seems like you're the only one, but you're not. Believe me, you're not the only one. I've been through it. Several people have been through it. And now I want to motivate you and inspire you and bring some healing. Now, I may be only the one to plant the seed. I may not be the one to water, but however it happens, I want to make sure that people walk away feeling much better than they did when they got on there.
I think that's amazing. Christina, I think that's what makes you not only as a person effective, but that's what makes your show effective. because of what you stated. Um, uh, it ain't like you're doing a show and and the people do it all the time. They talk about divorce. They talk about abuse. They talk about all these things. And then in the back of your mind, it's not that you're being critical or judging them. It's like, okay, did this person actually go down that road? It makes
Yeah.
it so much more effective when you, hey, I've got mental health issues. I've been through this. I know what it's like to go through a
Mhm.
breakup. I know what it's like to
Yeah.
be cheated on. And I think that's what makes your show so effective because it ain't like you're just sitting there like, oh, I want to talk about this. And you haven't been through it. You've actually went through it. So I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. And thank you for bringing that up. What would you
Thank
say?
you.
What would you, and I know you've done a lot of shows, but what would you say is the most memorable show you've ever done? And also the second question to that question is, why do you do what you do? What's your drive? What's your push? Uh because I know after doing my show 15 years, there's days I just want to be like, all right, I'm done. Nobody's listening, even though I know a lot of people are. But as a human beings, I think people need to see that side of us, of people who have platforms like this, that
Mhm.
because you're pouring so much into people and they don't realize that sometimes internally, like you're struggling, you're dying on the inside, you're being tormented on the inside. So, what would you say one of the most memorable shows you've done, and why do you do your show?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I can actually walk away from a show and say that was good, and my
Yeah,
husband will go, "That was a good show." And it's always Henry, and it's funny. It's always the show that I may have been, and I'm just transparency, may have been least prepared for.
yeah,
Didn't think that I was going to get a half hour out. Like, sometimes I try to get to there in that hour show, but then sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if how do I have any more questions to ask?
yeah.
And it's always that show afterwards where I'm like, man, that was good. That was
Mhm.
a good show. And so there are many. Most of them are people who have been through, like, there's actually one where she went through a series of she was in a foster home. She grew up in a foster care system, and just to know how she went about going through these foster care system, and how she got out of it, and how she still became this successful person and now is paying it forward. And I admire people who can come out of a situation and pay it forward and not dwell on it. But what I admire most is a person who can be fully transparent. Because
Mhm.
I always, before I do an interview, say, what is there that you don't want to say? Let me know now, because I've seen things on your posts or whatever, but I want to know, can we talk about that? And if we don't, then you don't, I will not touch it. But when people say I'm an open book, I'm like,
All
okay,
right.
here we go.
Yep.
I'm revving up. Let's go. Let's get those questions out. And she was just so transparent, and she does things that are just so, it's just so beautiful. She has open what do you call it? Baby showers for women who can't afford things, young girls and everything. Just some admirable things that I would love to see even myself do something like that one day. Now, why I do what I do is because I want someone. I didn't always have someone to speak life into me all the time. I do have some good friends. You can, the kind you count on one hand.
Mhm.
but I didn't always have somebody to tell me how to navigate through life, how to navigate. When I first got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, this was in 2001. I had 3 kids. I was a single mother, sort of. I was in a situation ship. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, just keep it real. I grew up in church my whole life and everything, but I wasn't always perfect. Look, I messed up sometimes, and I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And they do, and like I said, I believe in transparency. They have 3 different fathers, and if somebody had told me back in the day that you don't have to open your legs for everybody that that wants it, and just because he likes you doesn't mean that he loves you, and doesn't mean he's going to settle down and marry you. Because my mentality was always
Ooh,
sex and love were
listen,
intertwined.
listen to you, girl.
Listen, sex and love were intertwined with me, and I thought that if I had sex, then he loved me and I could get him. And so I always was looking and searching for this person to love me, that person to love me. And it failed miserably because one, I didn't love myself and I didn't trust in the God that loves me so much. And he's looking at me, he's like, stop,
Yeah.
stop, look what you're doing to yourself. There was a song back in the 80s, 90s, self-destruction. We're headed for self-destruction. It was this
Yeah.
rap song, right? And it was talking about actually like, our in the content of our people, but it's still in people anywhere. You're self-destructing and you don't even realize that you're self-destructing. And God doesn't want that for us. And he wants the very best for us. And we're sitting here trying to figure everything out for ourselves. And I'm trying to go through this guy and that guy and that guy. And so I said all that to say this. I don't even know how I got over there, but we're here. But I said, I want women, I want to mentor a woman and let her know, I don't want you to go through that. I want you to be careful. I want you to find true love. There's somebody out there waiting for you who's going to love you and love your kids. And if you have kids and love everything about you. I worried so much about being diagnosed with a chronic illness because it started affecting my walk and my gait and all this kind of stuff. And I would be embarrassed to tell a guy, I walk with a cane at that time. And now I walk with a rollator, but before I met my husband, I was afraid too. Like I look crazy, and I want people to understand that I want to be open and transparent. So when they hear my story, they're encouraged. I want to encourage people, and I think that's the most that I want to do. I want to encourage someone.
That's powerful. So the last question is when people come and they watch your show, what content can they expect? Like what do you actually talk about?
I talk about a lot of things. We talk about purpose. We talk about being healed. Like I said, we were diagnosed. And not just me, my husband was also diagnosed with MS too. And so we're these two entities that came together and we believe, were brought together by God. And then we encourage people, don't give up. Like here I am. This is where we are. But don't give up. God is good. God is he's going to do it for you. And we firmly believe that we want not just that, but people who I had a show one time about teachers, just bigging up teachers. Here's some teachers, y'all. I want y'all to go in here and it was it Teachers Appreciation Week or month or something like that. And my mother was a teacher herself. And so my mother now, God bless her, she's 93. So we had her do a little short video about her time teaching and to PC, her on there. And she was just excited to see her eyes light up. So it goes across the board with the younger generation, the older generation. I've tried to have my daughters on there. My daughter is 28. She's 28. And I have another daughter who's 23.
You look like you're 28.
Say thank you. I'll be trying to tell them that. They hate that. They say, I was in a store one time and my daughter, a cashier said, is that your sister? And I was like, I said, did you hear her? Did you hear her? But I want people to see content, real people. That's the content they can expect to see. Real people talk about their real testimonies, talk about their real life situation, what God brought them through, what they came through, no matter what the circumstances, how they still triumphed, how they're still here. My main thing is always making sure people that I'm still here. Everything I've been through, all the hell I went through, I'm still here, but by the grace of God. So thank you.
And that's good news. And Christina, I appreciate you so much for being on the show. You have a beautiful spirit, and I appreciate who you are, and also I appreciate what you do. And I want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. You're very consistent, and it's hard to stick with something when life comes with certain turbulence and roller coaster rides and interruptions, and you still somehow get back on track and do what you feel like God's called you to do, which is the Christina Nelson Show. We would like to encourage everyone to go visit youtube.com, type in the Christina Nelson Show. Don't only watch her show, but I actually subscribe to her channel. That way, when she uploads new content, you'll be able to watch her show. We're going to be subscribing as well. And if there's anything that we can do as a community for you, please let us know.
I will do that. Thank you. And thank you, Brother Henry, for everything that you do, especially in this podcast streets here. You know, we appreciate it. Yeah, very good. You're very consistent too. When you said 15 years, I'm like, wow, man.
Yeah.
That's consistency and in the midst of breaking it up, because trust me, I wanted to stop at times too. I was like I used to, ain't nobody watching. And then that would be the show that everybody comes to me and says, that was good.
Yeah. I think you do a great job. Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you. Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you, or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection. God bless you. I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank
God bless
you.
you too. Thank you for having us.